Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the Online Series 13 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. Today we're trying out a really fun combination featuring Choice Scarf Zeraora as well as Choice Band Regieleki. I saw this team on the VGC subreddit. It was built by a player called Adam who goes by Tetris, and they actually posted 4 awesome rental teams on the VGC subreddit, so I've linked their post down in the description below. Huge thank you to them for creating so many fun teams, and yeah, like Zeraora Regieleki was on my list of combos to try out, and I think this team is just so wonderfully crafted. And so yeah, thank you so much as always for watching Road to Rank. If you enjoyed, please share your support by leaving a like. I'd really appreciate it. As always, I'll do a quick breakdown of the team, but if you want to just skip to the battles, check out the timestamps in the description below. And yeah, let's talk about the team. So first of all, we have to talk about the combination between Zeraora and Regieleki. That's one of the main reasons I wanted to feature this team. I think this team is just so well constructed though. I absolutely love it. The idea behind Regieleki and Zeraora is Plasma Fists. Zeraora's signature attack turns the explosion from a normal type attack into an electric type attack, which is bonkers because then you get Transistor and you get Choice Band value, right? And same type attack bonus value. So you have a Regieleki that is just blowing things up left and right, and really even things that resist it don't take it very well. And Zeraora also has the Volt Absorb, and so it doesn't take any damage from Explosion. So it's a really cool combination here, and the idea is that with Choice Scarf and this speed investment, you always outspeed your own Regieleki as well, which is very, very awesome. This is one of the fastest combinations you can run in this format. Now, obviously, be careful when you use this. It's really volatile. If your opponent's just double protect in front of Regieleki, you just lose a Pokemon and get, like, literally nothing out of it other than a free switch-in, right? And so you can just lose a Pokemon from it immediately, but you can also win the game immediately from this duo. In my experience, like, I only really want to go with this if they don't have anything that's really good into electric types, right? But even if they have a single resistance or a single ground type, I think a lot harder about just leading this immediately. But you don't necessarily need to go for the explosion, right? You can go for something like a Volt Switch to pivot out into any 4 of your Pokemon in the back. The Zeraora can also go for coaching, which is pretty neat. You can hard switch Eleki into Groudon, go for coaching immediately. And then you've got some decent damage output between close combat and throw chop here as well. And then the Regieleki, you know, Wild Charge is going to be your main means of offense. Extreme Speed can work just to really catch things off guard, or if you conserve Regieleki for the late game. Regieleki, of course, could Dynamax as well. You could even coaching onto Max Eleki, but that's for more obscure scenarios, I would say, because you generally want to max one of your restricted Pokemon in the back. But either way, this is a really cool combo. The coaching here is also really nice with Groudon, right? So you can lead like Zeraora or Groudon and just go for coaching immediately and help boost Groudon up as quickly as possible. This is a standard Assault Vest Groudon. Do know that it has a little bit more speed investment than your average Groudon, right? A lot of Groudons run like, you know, maybe 20 or in that range. This is kind of speed creeping those Groudons in particular, so you don't need any speed control to just outspeed them, which is pretty nice. You've got Rock Slide over Stone Edge here, and then you've got Shadow Claw. Shadow Claw I really like. You know, you can give that up for something like Heavy Slam, but it's just good offense into things like Lunala and Calyrex, and also being able to drop your opponent's defense is always valuable, especially when you're comboing with Groudon and Zeraora with the coaching stuff here. To round out the team, you've got the Tailwind, Trick Room, Whimsicott. This is, I think, you know, really just going to be a standard set on Whimsicott this format. You have flexibility in the back 2 moves. Energy Ball exists here because otherwise Gastron can be kind of annoying, right? For the dual electrics, it's also pretty annoying to the rest of the Pokemon as well. And then Protect is the final move over something like a supportive move, but I think that makes a lot of sense in the context of this team. To round things out, you've got Magearna here. This is classic Shuka, just max HP, max special attack, Trick Room, dual offense, and then Protect. No Flare Cannon here. Flare Cannon is an interesting option on Magearna, but it just stops you from snowballing nearly as quickly, right? Like, yes, it's more damage, but eating up a special attack drop can be a pretty huge deal. So it can work on the right team, but with this team specifically, like if you get Trick Room up, you have so much power between like Magearna, Groudon, and Palkia, and that Dazzling Gleam and Precipice Blades, or Dazzling Gleam plus one of Max Groudon and Max Palkia can just really help you snowball. And so it's a little bit better to just make sure your special attack stays, you know, the same, if not increases via Soul Heart. And finally, you've got a Life Orb Palkia here with Trick Room, Spatial Ren, Hydro Pump, Earth Power, so triple offense. Palkia is a pretty sweet pick in this format. It can be really good into things like Kyogre and Groudon, and just overall a pretty solid and reliable Dynamax option, because there aren't that many Pokemon that can threaten this with a one-hit knockout. So one of the things I really like about this team is that there's so many ways that you could play with it. Regieleki, Zeraora lead, for example, is one combination. You could go Regieleki, Magearna, and just explode Trick Room. That's one of the cool things where it's like, even if you don't get much out of Explosion, Magearna still gets a free special attack boost, and if that actually gets Trick Room up and your opponent's all, you know, faster than Magearna, Magearna plus one of its partners can maybe just sweep, for example. That's one mode. You could just lead Whimsicott and pressure Tailwind immediately, so something like Whimsicott plus a restricted like Groudon or Palkia is a combination as well. And so those are just some of the modes that I've gone with thus far. But yeah, I think it's really flexible, and I think being able to pressure both Tailwind and Trick Room and utilize both super well is awesome for this team. So yeah. Question of the day, I want to know how you would personally run some Zeraoras in this format. You know, I think this set makes a lot of sense. I've seen Focus Sash, like with Fake Out and Electro Web as well. So let me know what kind of Zeraoras that you've been trying out or you think can be good in Series 13. And let's get started. Alright, getting into this one, and we've got Zacian, Indeedee, Groudon, Eleki, Calyrex, and Kyurem. So, seeing Groudon and Kyurem makes me kind of sad, because I can't really just use Zeraora and Regieleki that easily, but that's okay. Magearna under Trick Room's okay. Palkia is a pretty solid Dynamax option. It's actually the Indeedee that concerns me a fair amount here, because it can redirect things away. I'm not completely opposed to Zeraora and Regieleki still, but like I think Indeedee Kyurem is probably the lead to watch out for from their end. So they led Indeedee plus Kyurem. How do I want to approach that? Because I can't knock out Indeedee that easily, actually. But I think I'm down for Zera or Regieleki still. Dynamax Palkia is okay. Magearna is okay. They don't have a ground resistance or immunity. Groudon's okay. Okay, I think I'm gonna go Zera or Eleki, Groudon, and Magearna. I guess the other approach is KO Indeedee early and then Dynamax Palkia. That's probably the better approach to take here, but I just really wanted to use Zera or Regieleki and see what we could do with it. Yeah, so we can go for... Like, the thing is, we have Throat Chop to deal with Indeedee, which is kind of sweet. If they lead Indeedee plus Kyurem, I can, like, Throat Chop, Volt Switch out immediately. Pivot the Regieleki out. But it's Calyrex plus Regieleki. Okay, I think it might be time to blow things up. The thing is, they could just double protect here. But if they don't... Maybe it's slightly more optimal to actually, I don't know, we have Throat Chop here. I could Throat Chop Volt Switch, for example. I'm just gonna go for Plasma Fists plus Explosion. Just never really seen it before. So we'll see if they expect it. It is a fairly obvious combination, so very much like using Victini, right? When you click Explosion with Regieleki, it's really volatile, because it can completely backfire, right? If they just double protect, for example. So I don't think this is the most optimal play, but it's my first time using the team. I just want to see it. Regieleki switches into Kyurem. Okay, that's fine. Does Calyrex protect is my main question. Okay, no protect. So we get Plasma Fists off. Nice. Okay. Now that changes Explosion to an Electric type attack. Choice Band Explosion with Transistor. Volt Absorb into Zeraora. What? That almost one-shot Kyurem White. Holy moly. Okay. Yeah, that's not bad. That is not bad. I think I'd rather go out into Magearna first, because if we KO Kyurem, then Groudon has a really good time in this matchup, especially given that one of my opponent's Pokemon is Regieleki, and they bring Regieleki back out. Okay, cool. Oh my goodness, that is crazy. We actually can just go for Plasma Fists now into Kyurem, and Trick Room I think might win this game for us. I guess the alternative to Trick Rooming is just attacking, or maybe even Dynamaxing Magearna. Like, what do I think their final Pokemon is going to be? Probably their own Groudon. Just double checking Magearna here and Groudon. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how slow their Groudon is. I don't know if I want to actually set up Trick Room. Plasma Fists. I'm still down to go for it. Ooh, is that Regieleki Dynamax? It could also be Kira Max Guard, and then Regieleki Electro Web, but it is Eleki Max, okay. I guess I'm okay with this for now, because, like, Max Groudon beats their Eleki really hard, right? So I'd expect Kieran protecting here, but they don't. Okay, cool. So Zeraora gets another Plasma Fists off. I just cannot believe how much that Choice Band Explosion did. I mean, I guess I can, because it's actually, you know, so powerful, same type attack boosted. But that's into something that resisted it, right? That's just so crazy to me. I guess I could have maxed Magearna here for a win. Oh, they maxed Airstream. What? They probably weren't expecting... Well, they should know Zeraora's Choice Scarf. Or maybe they were expecting my Regieleki to just be really slow relative to Zeraora. But that just puts me in an amazing spot now. So even if their last one is Groudon, it's like you committed your Dynamax to Regieleki, which is not a very consistent option right now against what we have. And it's Zacian as well. Yeah, Groudon just wins this game for me. Cool. Here I'm down to just protect Magearna, sacrifice Zeraora, get a free switch in. We can go for Plasma Fists here onto Zacian and protect Magearna. Groudon just beats both of these Pokemon right now. Basically, what you should do if you're in my opponent's shoes is intentionally not knock out Zeraora. Yeah, to deny me a free switch in. Yep, so there's Blade into the Magearna. We continue to just get Plasma Fists off, which is pretty sweet. But yeah, the one thing I just don't want to do in this game quite yet is bring in the Groudon and just Dynamax it. Or sorry, bring in Groudon and sacrifice it for nothing. My opponent correctly doubles up onto Magearna here, so nicely done. This now sets up the electric terrain, so Plasma Fists in itself will do more to Zeraora, which is sweet. And I could max Magearna, but I think Groudon Dynamax is just so much stronger here in this endgame. The awkward thing for my opponent is because they got that Airstream speed boost and they set up electric terrain, now Plasma Fists will just KO Zacian. So I'm down to just Plasma Fists into the Zacian slot and go for a Dazzling here. Dazzling breaks the potential Focus Sash on Regieleki, so then Groudon could just come out and win the game. So, yeah. I think they needed to max Lightning the Magearna slot. Even if they did, I'd still be okay, because their last one was Zacian. I lose Magearna there maybe, but then I get a free switch into Groudon. The endgame is my Choice Scarf Zeraora plus Dynamax Assault Vest Groudon into Regieleki and Zacian, right? So now we get Dazzling Gleam off. Great. They can pick up a double KO here, but even if they do, it's fine. It's going to be play rough correctly onto Zeraora. Nicely done. Zeraora will faint. I will lose Magearna as well, but that's okay. The main thing here is now being able to Dynamax Groudon. What I don't want to do is like Dynamax Magearna and have it just faint to a critical hit like Max Lightning from the Regieleki, right? Whereas in this position, I still have turns of Trick Room to work with, and I have a Dynamax Groudon, and Regieleki is completely useless against Groudon, right? So this is one of those scenarios where, yeah, I probably could have won this game like by conserving more Pokemon, but this was like a relatively safe route to take, where it's like my opponent can't just ignore Magearna, right? And they also can't ignore the Zeraora, and so I'm just waiting for them to give me a free switch in. I don't want to waste my Dynamax, and what I don't want to do is like max the Magearna and attack carelessly into a slot. There's still 2 turns of Trick Room here, which is beautiful, because it means even if you protect Zacian, I can just KO you through protect. So we're just gonna max Wake here. And yeah, there's really nothing Regieleki can do into Groudon in this position. So I'm just so happy we managed to get full value out of the Regieleki plus Zeraora combination to start this game. And if that doesn't speak to the strength of Regieleki, I don't know what is. Like, that explosion almost got a one-hit knockout on Akiram. That's crazy. Basically in that position, I could have gone for like Throat Chop and Vote Switch onto the Calyrex slot for a KO, but I was like, we're using this to try to showcase the combo. Yeah, maybe it's not the 100% most optimal route, but it's just so cool. And there's no better way to start off this episode than with something like that, right? So that's a banger already. So Groudon's gonna max here, beautiful. Yeah, and once again, like this is just knowing that Groudon is always gonna hard beat Regieleki. So yeah, Zacian protects, but I have 2 turns of Trick Room, so I can just, even if you get a double protect, Max Quick's KOing you through the protects, right? There's really nothing Regieleki can do to touch Groudon here. And Quake just gets the one-hit KO. Beautiful. Cool. This was us just knowing, hey, my opponent has 2 really fast Pokemon here, so even if I waste the first couple turns of Trick Room, it's fine. My opponent basically made their best possible play under both turns, and even then didn't really get very much off. Okay, they go for Bounce. I guess the win condition is bounce paralysis into full para. That'd be pretty funny. Because it will waste the turn of my max here, so I like what they're going for. But a Dynamax, or I mean, just a Groudon in general should not lose against a Regieleki. But I've seen crazier things happen, I guess, so there's bounce. Okay, does it paralyze us? Props to them for playing towards their outs. That should be Assault Vest Eleki, right? Okay, so they bounce again. They will stall out another turn of my Dynamax this way. So my Dynamax is over now. If I actually get full para'd like a couple of times, I could lose this, which is crazy. The good thing is I don't have to rely on Precipice Blades hitting. We've done enough damage to Regieleki, so I can just click Fire Punch, but yeah. I was saying there's no way I should lose this, but bounce is probably, what, a 3-hit KO here? So they would need multiple full paras in a row. That's not even a 3-hit KO. Okay. That's their only out though, right? You go for bounce and you just hope for infinite paras, and then hope that each time you land on the bounce I get fully paralyzed. So yeah, they're like, it wasn't 100% over yet. The odds were obviously overwhelmingly in my favor, and if my opponent just doesn't get the para immediately there, we're pretty good. Actually, no, because they can still get the para on the second bounce coming down as well. But yeah, either way, the Zeraora plus the Regieleki showed off what they can do with this combination, which is so fun. So that was a banger way to get this episode started. Okay, next game here. Ooh, Zekrom. Zekrom's actually one of the Pokemon I really want to build around because I think it's very good in this format relative to Series 12. It's also not amazing to see with Zeraora and Regieleki here. They also have Tailwind with Whimsicott, right? So there are a couple things to watch out for. So I think we can play towards our Whimsicott here. We can look towards Trick Rooming as they Tailwind. Palkia is not bad here either. Like, I think I want to go the Trick Room route this game. Because basically, like, Zeraora Regieleki is completely useless into Zekrom. And my opponents now, like, seeing Zera and Regieleki might even lead Zekrom to try to beat this early on. So I'm intrigued by something like a Whimsicott plus Groudon lead with Magearna and Palkia in the back. This is just, like, so much offense. But I also have 3 Trick Room users, which I really like. I think this team is super well constructed because on one hand you have a really fast mode, but it's not just solely reliant on this fast mode, right? Because the problem when you like over-index on one end of the speed spectrum, like either you're really fast or you're really slow, the problem then becomes like you can really hard lose to, say, the opposing speed, right? As in, oh, they actually lead Whimsicott Kyogre, so I might even be able to just win the Weather War here. Unless their Kyogre is really slow. That would be amazing. The interesting thing on turn 1 is still, okay, yeah, nice. This is one of the nice things of just using Groudon in general as well, like, because it's not like Kyogre and Groudon often are, like, it's weird because, you know, their speeds are obviously, or their base speeds are the same, but Groudon's pretty much almost, not all, like, 100% always slower than Kyogre, because you can run really bulky Assault Vest Kyogre with, you know, like, 12, 20 speed EVs, but yeah. I'm down to Trick Room here. I'm actually contemplating just a Fire Punch. Because Max Palkia under Trick Room should sweep this. Or just the Precipice Blades. Okay, I'm not for Precipice Blades. We'll see if they Tailwind. Kyogre switches. Cool, that works for me. What's coming in? Evil Taunt, that makes a lot of sense. Let's see if they taunt us or not. They could also try to reverse my own Trick Room. Yeah, they do go for taunt. Okay. I wonder if Mental Orb's worth considering on Whimsicott as an item for that reason. So they'll probably Tailwind now, right? But that's okay. Like, I could just switch Whimsicott out into Magearna. I actually don't hate a double switch in this position. I could also take the KO onto Whimsicott, but if I do, it's a free switch in for them, and I don't love that, so yeah. Whimsicott into Magearna, that resists a flying type attack. Palkia to switch in here. Now I have 2 Pokemon that pressure Trick Room the next turn. If I get Trick Room up in this game, I feel really good about my chances of winning, but it's a question of how I get there. But yeah, I think having 3 Trick Room users on a team is really great in this format because, like, it's so hard to just guarantee Trick Room in this format, given the sheer firepower of the leads that exist. Yeah, Whimsicott Tailwinds, that's fine. They dual Wing Beat. Okay, cool. Okay, so both my Pokemon now have the ability to Trick Room here. You know what's crazy? Clicking Trick Room with both Pokemon here. Saying, well, I think your Whimsicott's going to taunt one Pokemon, but I don't think you're going to be able to stop both Pokemon from Trick Rooming. It's a little bit risky because, like, Whimsicott could just switch out here. But I'm actually down to go for it. Because I think the likelihood of them taunting one is very likely, but they can't stop both Pokemon from Trick Rooming here. Unless it's Dynamax Yveltal with Max Flare. They are maxing, so that does not instill a ton of confidence into me. We'll see. Basically, what I'm saying here is if I get Trick Room up, I should have a very, very favorable matchup here. Because all of my Pokemon, Magearna, Palkia, and Groudon, are very viable under Trick Room. So, this is kind of an obscure play, but it can work out. Okay, they taunt onto Palkia, so the question is, can you knock out Magearna right now in one shot? It's Max Darkness, beautiful. Into Palkia. Ha! They actually got a one-hit KO there, so they actually, if they had... I'm kind of surprised they got a one-hit KO, wow. I mean, I'm guessing it's physical Yveltal, just pure physical, but even then I would have expected to survive, but yeah. My play actually wouldn't have really worked out because they could have taunted Magearna, and then gone for Max Darkness on a Palkia, but I didn't think I'd ever get one shot there by physical Yveltal, but that was just kind of a poor assumption on my end, I suppose. Okay, so we can go to Groudon now. I guess my only fear is that if they have an Encore Whimsicott, but are you really going to have Tailwind, Taunt, Moonblast? It could still be Encore as the 4th. My way around that is Dynamaxing Magearna. And I could max Starfall Yveltal and Stone Edge it. Or sorry, Rock Slide it. I mean, I think here I'd rather Dazzling Gleam, Dynamax Groudon, Rockfall into Yveltal. It could be Charm Whimsicott though. I think not knowing Whimsicott's full moveset here still makes this turn kind of dicey, but I don't want to play too passively. And if Whimsicott does have a surprise move that beats us here, so be it. I can't cover for every single option, but it could be Charm, it could be Fake Tears, could be Encore. I think Encore is actually pretty underrated on Whimsicott. I would consider running it in this format a lot more than previous formats because of how valuable it is into opposing Whimsicotts. Okay, cool. They do not end up protecting. Whimsicott doesn't go for any Prankster priority move. Maybe I was going to go for Trick Room there. But Magearna now gets the +2 immediately. See if Max Rockfall can KO Yveltal here. I don't expect it to be a very bulky Yveltal, given how much Gleam just did. But it does survive with the Sliver, which is a little unfortunate. Yeah, like Max Magearna could have maybe been a little bit better for us, but I don't know. Can it really KO Magearna? Yeah, they just go for Darkness. Perfect. Onto Groudon. Beautiful. And that's why I really like having 3 Trick Room users with this team. Like, when we previously used Magearna at the start of the season, the tricky thing about that team composition was that Magearna was the only Trick Room user, so basically if you wanted to get Trick Room up, you had to solely rely on Magearna, whereas with this composition, we have so many answers, right? It's like, I'm always pressuring Trick Room with this mode. They bring out Zekrom. Yeah, this game should be over at this point. Magearna's just snowballing this out of control. They don't have any fairy resistances outside of Zacian, which they didn't bring into the game. I can just Dazzling Gleam, Max Quake here, which also gives me special defense boost, which helps out against Kyogre. I don't really see how they can stop this. Yeah, Yveltal goes for Max Guard. Unless Zekrom underspeeds Magearna here, but even if you do, you would have to survive this Gleam, which they do not. Yeah, it's the power of Magearna for you. Okay, we get another boost. Quake gets eliminated into the guard, but that's fine. Kyogre comes out. I can just Dazzling Gleam. I mean, I can go for any move on Groudon, it doesn't matter, right? I'm mainly thinking that, like, what's their win condition here? Multiple protects, so, like, we can just change the weather into Sun here into Kyogre, and Kyogre and Sun just really shouldn't be able to beat Magearna. Yeah. Dynamax ends on Yveltal. Perfect. We still have 2 turns of Trick Room, +3, -1 special defense, and 2 turns of Trick Room left. Dazzling Gleam. I'm fine clicking just Dazzling Gleam and Quake here. I think that's enough for a KO. Even if Kyogre protects, I still have another turn of Trick Room to work with. And then even if they stall out Trick Room, Energy Ball from Whimsicott just wins me the game anyway. So, yeah. Plenty of different ways we could have played that endgame, but I think Quake and Gleam was fine. Like, even if you get a Protect off there, right? And then you get another Protect off the next turn, then I can just Protect Magearna, bring in Whimsicott, and then just, like, Energy Ball. Because we have the Focus Sash intact still. So, yeah. That was a completely different mode from the Regieleki Zeraora mode, but you can already see how flexible this team is, where in the first 2 games we featured basically the 2 main ways that you can play with it. And once again, having triple Trick Room pressure is really nice. The key turn was my opponent just going for Taunt and Max Darkness on a Palkia. Like, I thought they should have split their attacks there, but I also thought even if they split attacks, I'd be fine there, because I didn't think Palkia would faint. I want to do the damage calc there, because I did not expect Palkia to ever faint there, but they might be Black Glasses. So I think that Yveltal had to be Black Glasses, because if you look at the damage calc here, even max attack, Dark Aura, max darkness in a Palkia is never a KO, which is why I was expecting to survive that turn, right? And we knew it wasn't Life Orb either, so I was thinking maybe it was Assault Vest, but Black Glasses makes a ton of sense. So if you throw the Black Glasses onto the Yveltal here, let me scroll back up. You can see here if it's admin, it's actually a guaranteed 1-hit KO. Let me scroll out a little bit. And if it is Jolly here, it is a damage roll, and that is, yeah, 43.8% chance to 1-hit KO. So, yeah. The main reason I wasn't expecting to just go down that turn was, 1, I think I'm just more used to, obviously, fighting against Special Yveltal rather than the physical Yveltal, and then 2, I'm not as, familiar with Black Glasses damage calc, and so, yeah, that game actually could have been really bad if they just taunted the Magearna and then Max Darkness the Palkia, but, yeah, they were trying to, go all in on shutting down Palkia, and they were successful in doing so, but, yeah, Magearna ended up getting Trick Room there, so... the main thing is, if they had taunted Magearna and it were Jolly on the Yveltal, then the odds are still more in my favor to survive that turn and get Trick Room up. And I expect it to be Jolly, but I'm not 100% sure there. Either way, though, it's been a really fun 2 games, so let's look for one final one. Alright. Ooh, last game here, I really like seeing the Liepard. I think that Pokemon is really interesting in this format, because it can... guarantee you Trick Room with, or almost guarantee you Trick Room with, like, Copycat Max Guard. I could bring something to just reverse their Trick Room then. That would be really troll. I mean, what I learned from the first game is that there's no actual switch it into Explosion, like this combination, but I don't think we want to start with that. Could be fun to end the game with that, though. So they... Ooh, Dialga's a problem, I guess, just in general. Something like Liepard Dialga could be scary. I'm thinking Whimsicott Groudon, where I can reverse their Trick Room. Reverse their Trick Room with Whimsicott, Precipice Blades on turn 1, then Dynamax Groudon on turn 2 is decently powerful, I think. Also, low-key, I could go Regieleki Magearna, Explosion, turn 1, reverse their Trick Room, bring in Groudon. I'm actually kind of down to try that out. So Regieleki Magearna, Whimsicott, or sorry, Groudon, and then Palkia. This allows me to bring as much offense as possible as well. Like, this is your strongest core of 4 if you're looking to just deal damage, right? There's also a world in which we could use Coaching Zeraora to boost up Groudon immediately, like lead Groudon Zeraora, self-coaching immediately. But I kind of want to try the Regieleki combo here, because even regular Choice Band Explosion isn't terrible. We go with Magearna and Dialga. Yeah, this would have been super good into the Zeraora combo. Okay. I mean, I don't love this, but I also don't... Well, I was going to say I don't dislike it. I kind of dislike it now that I think about it. I don't know how fast they are. How fast are we here? Palkia is 30 speed. I think 28. not like Trick Room benefits me right now. I'm thinking actually just Wild Charge and Protect turn 1. Yeah, this is ended up not being a great lead for me. I kind of honed in too hard on the Liepard combinations that they could have had. But Max Dialga was always going to be a really strong lead option against us no matter what we brought. The best option against this would have been Whimsicott, Groudon lead, turn 1 Tailwind, Dynamax Groudon, like Quake into Magearna, or Max Flare if I'm worried that they're going to have Shuka Berry, which I actually would be worried about them having. What would be interesting is if they set up Trick Room with their own Magearna, and then I outspeed with like Groudon and Magearna under Trick Room. I didn't really want to Volt Switch out here because I didn't want to go out into anything. That's really good damage on their Magearna. Okay. Yep, they Max Quake into Regieleki. That's fine. It's mainly a question of what Magearna goes for here. Because now I can go into my own Palkia and then max Palkia and Quake with it. Or do they just Trick Room here? I think I'd be okay with them clicking Trick Room because then I get Groudon out against this. My Soul Heart activates second, but we're min speed, so... they do Trick Room. Okay. I mean, I think that works for me, honestly. We get Groudon out now. Cool. That was actually a pretty ideal turn 1, all things considered, then, I would say. Max Groudon. Like, the only thing I'm worried about is they have a Calyrex Ice Rider and a potential Kyogre in the back, right? But I guess they can't max Calyrex, so should I be as scared of it? Because what I can do is max Quake here into Dialga and just Dazzling Gleam. Maybe it's better to Flash Cannon Magearna here to ensure it faints, because I have Shuka Berry, so I should survive a Max Quake here anyway. But I'm thinking Gleam plus Quake might just KO Dialga. I guess Dialga could Max Guard here if they have it. Okay. I also wouldn't have hated just Precipice Blades Dazzling Gleam this turn, and then keep my max option flexible. Because the problem with the play I made here is it loses to Dialga Max Guard plus Magearna reversing Trick Room. And that would put me in a slightly awkward spot going into the next turn. Okay, no Max Guard though, cool. Gleam didn't do as much as I would have liked there into Dialga. Actually go for Flare Cannon, okay. Probably doubling up onto Dialga. Ooh, their Dialga is slower than us. Okay. Oh, actually, I forgot about the special defense boost they got via Gleam. That's why. Yeah. This is a problem, because Calyrex Ice Rider now is looking really scary. But I guess if I had just not maxed with either, I would have taken a huge Flare Cannon though, right? I get a Max Quake off. It's not enough to KO Dialga. Palkia beats Kyogre decently well. I think the really awkward thing in this matchup is just not knowing the speed dynamic at all. You're at -1 now. You can go for another Flare Cannon. I can use Magearna to just KO their Magearna and then Quake onto Dialga for a double KO. The problem is I think their Kyogre is going to underspeed me, honestly, under Trick Room. I went for Max Quake Protect, but I think switching Magearna would have been better. Yeah, their Dialga actually being slower than us is a huge pain here, because otherwise I could just, like... I would have gotten a special defense boost before they attacked. I mean, Flare Cannon does nothing at this point, so I'm happy to target around Magearna. Yeah, they go for another Quake. I mean, this is okay for now, I think. I survive, I get another special defense boost. I KO'd their Dialga, but... I'm not sure I really love how this has played out thus far. I feel like after turn 1, I was actually in a pretty good spot, and I could have just knocked out their Magearna with Flash Cannon. Maybe maxing my Magearna was actually my best bet. Like, I would Steel Spike there and force something to come out, and I'd be at +2 special attack immediately. I don't know. Either way, though, we get a KO into Dialga. Their Magearna is at minus, what, 3, 4 right now? Minus 3. So its damage output is basically very poor. And I have plus 2 special defense. Both Magearnas get another boost here. They can bring out Calyrex Ice Rider and then just like Glacial Lance, though. So I'd have to consider switching Magearna out. Excuse me. Either way, though, I feel like this episode was fun because we featured so many different modes with the team, like 3 different leads, right? Zeraora, Regieleki, yeah. Calyrex comes out. I mean, I expect to survive Glacial Lance plus Flare Cannon on Groudon here. Magearna just protected. There's still 2 turns of Trick Room left. And Palkia in the back does not have Protect. The thing is, Max Flare and Sun isn't a KO onto Calyrex either, and I could activate Weakness Policy, which is no good. Unless Magearna magically survives the Glacial Lance here. This endgame is actually looking kind of bad, I think. Or unless I like randomly one-shot Calyrex here. I'll go for Flare and Gleam. Yeah, they do Lance. Yeah, Magearna can't survive that. Okay. If Flare gets the KO onto them, I guess maybe we can still be okay, but Kyogre should be their last one, right? Yep, Chilling Neigh. I could have switched out into Palkia there. It's just the speed dynamic, because then it's like late game Kyogre really gives me such a pain. Oh, we almost one-shot Calyrex there too. It was close. The problem is I can't protect with either Pokemon. If Trick Room were over this turn, I think we would have a pretty good chance of winning, because then I can just press Vis Blades, but I needed one more turn. Yeah. Dialga ultimately was really good for my opponent here. I could have, like, snowballed a little bit quicker, but yeah, like, the thing is, the Regieleki, I mean, where could I have improved this game? On turn 2, I think maybe maxing Magearna would have been the better bet. I just didn't love the idea of maxing, and I like, figured Groudon would actually outspeed the Dialga, but the thing is, the Groudon is admin 68 speed EVs. Yeah, and Dialga probably just doesn't have any speed investment. It's probably just quiet min speed, right? So if it's quiet min speed, then yeah, of course it's going to outspeed the Groudon there. But wasn't sure if the Dialga had any speed investment. So I think that's one of the interesting things about this format is when you're using like somewhat slow Pokemon. Like this is a pseudo Tailwind and Trick Room team. You can use either mode. And so I didn't know really how to commit in that game. Their lead was really good as well with Magearna and Groudon. So like I said, like I could have actually, in a best of 3, the adjustment I'd make is definitely just leading Groudon outright now that I know that it's faster than Dialga. And you could go with something like Zeraora Groudon and actually just go coaching on a Groudon turn 1, max Groudon, then max Quake onto the Magearna slot. Especially with Calyrex Ice in the back as well as presumably Kyogre. I think that's actually a pretty strong mode. Like Zeraora Groudon lead, Palkia plus one of Regieleki or Magearna in the back is how I'd adjust in a best of 3. But I don't have any shame losing that. I think it was a really well constructed team on my opponent's end, and very much reminds me of the one we're using here where they have multiple Trick Room users, but theirs is a little bit more Trick Room oriented, whereas for the team we're using, it can be played under either Trick Room or Tailwind, but as a result, like we were outsped against them under Trick Room, which was a little bit trickier. So yeah, anyway though, this team is absolutely amazing. It's so fun, and yeah, I'm just excited to try out more mythical Pokemon that we haven't ever used before, and I think the Zera Regieleki combination here is awesome. So thanks so much as always for watching. If you enjoyed, please share support by leaving a like. Don't forget to answer the question of the day. Thanks once again to Tetris for the team, and I'll see you all soon. Alright, peace.